Hey there. Well, if you've watched any of my vlogs, you know how I like SpongeBob. And I hate to tell you, but I'm going to tell you another one. But if you'll bear with me, I'll tell you why. I'm watching a SpongeBob episode, and this time it was poor old SpongeBob wanted to have the best day ever. And, he's out there and he's doing all these wonderful things in his head that, planning all these wonderful things he's going to do. And then his first wonderful thing is to go and see Mr. Krabs and work his best job he loves. But he gets there and there's some big disaster with these nematodes and he's got to fix it. And he did fix it for Mr. Krab. Then he wanted to go and do something else and something else. And, he got thwarted and he got thwarted and he wanted to finally go see Squidward and he got at a play his clarinet, and after everything in the world he got thwarted from that too. And it's like, it just broke his heart because everything he wanted to do he kept getting thwarted. But he was thwarted because he was helping them in some way. He had to fix something for a friend, he had to fix something for another friend, he had to take care of Mr. Krabs, etc., etc. You get my drift, right? And he was crying and crying and crying because he just had all he could take. And, Mr. Krabs says, well, don't you get it, boy? It's not about you. It's about us. Two things from that, okay? Two things. Sometimes we do get thwarted in our plans. We want to do the things we want to do, but maybe there's a higher power, maybe your own higher power even, that says, you know what, there's something else for you to do. Because maybe it's not about you. It is about the people around you that maybe you're making sacrifices for and you don't even know it. Maybe you don't even realize the impact in a positive and awesome way, perhaps, that you're making on other people's personal growth, or maybe making sacrifices so they can learn maybe about the hard lessons of being human even. Or, maybe you're just doing all kinds of things that even for your own soul growth, maybe it hurts and stuff, but maybe again that's a sacrifice that you've made to experience this kind of thing so that others around you can grow and have maybe things happen that they need to have happen, and they maybe couldn't have had these happen if you hadn't been making these sacrifices. And so even though sometimes, I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast, if it hurts you and stuff like this, and believe me, I'm right there with you, maybe it will help you to know that the pain and suffering perhaps that you have endured has helped someone maybe in ways that you're not going to understand. Maybe your sacrifices have enabled someone else to achieve something that they very much needed to achieve, and maybe they have been able now to move up a few rungs on that spiritual ladder because of what you have done, even though maybe it wasn't the thing that you had intended to do on a conscious level anyway, maybe at the back of your mind. But that's the way it goes. So, give yourself some credit if you're feeling all, when is it about me? That's the first thing. Second thing, I do think, having said that, some point it does, I think, get to be your turn too. At some point, I do think that you should and could and will. Okay, you will maybe reap the reward from some of your sacrifices. Maybe at some point it does get to be your turn. The SpongeBob's turn at the end. Everybody had to make a sacrifice for him at the end and put up with a lot of his singing and nonsense. But maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, and maybe that can be the way it is for you too. At some point, when you do all these things for others, it's got to come back. It's got to. And then maybe you can have your turn in the limelight and have some good things come to you so that you can have a spiritual growth in a very positive way, maybe in the sun rather than in the shadow of something else. And that's it for today.